Well, we've been talking about it long enough. Now Auburn finally kicking off fall camp on Wednesday, but not off to a good start. Their returning running back Jovon Robinson being dismissed from the team, certainly not coming as good news early on. A big question now, who's going to replace him? And for that, I bring in our Auburn beat reporter Wes Sinor joining us now on the Plains. And Wes, who is going to fill that hole this upcoming season?
Well, everybody's kind of looking at Kerryon Johnson right now, the former Mr. Alabama, Mr. Football Award winner from Madison Academy. I guess you could probably say he was the number 4 running back that Auburn had when the 2015 season ended. And then Peyton Barber leaves for the NFL. Brock Thomas transfers to Jacksonville State. And now Jovon Robinson, who everybody thought that even though those other 2 guys had left, that as long as they had Jovon Robinson, that running game was going to be in good shape. But now that he's gone, everybody's kind of turning to Kerryon. There's some questions about his durability and whether he's going to be able to handle a heavy load in the SEC, just because he's never really had to do that. Even when he was at Madison Academy in high school, that team was so good. They won 3 straight state championships that they only played Kerryon for, the first half usually, and then they would get up by a pretty big score. So he hasn't had to carry a big load, but I think that he's ready for the opportunity. I know that Tom Green, my coworker here at AL.com, talked to his father today, and he's ready to be the number 1 guy. The other options that they have right now, Auburn signed Cam Martin, the former Baylor signee. He's a small, kind of a speed back, so that will give them some options there. And then they're going to give H-backs Cameron Petway and Chandler Cox some carries near the goal line, some third down stuff. You're going to see that. And then Malik Miller, who everybody thought was most likely going to redshirt if Barber and Thomas and Robinson were coming back. But now, undoubtedly, they'll be playing Malik Miller too. So they have some options, but this is a huge blow because Jovon Robinson was widely considered to be the top offensive player on this roster.
Now, who's going to be ready to go at quarterback? Another big question. Of course, you have Sean White, Jeremy Johnson, and John Franklin III all competing for that position. But with Jovon Robinson out of the mix now, does that change the entire dynamic of this crew?
Yeah, I mean, those 3 guys have been competing since the spring, and they're still not a starter. I know that Malzahn wants to name a starter early in fall camp rather than later. But like I said, with Jovon Robinson back there, the assumption was that the offense was just going to kind of rely on him in the running game. And with that gone, it kind of just throws a wrench into the whole situation. They brought in John Franklin III to kind of revitalize the running game at the quarterback position. And they're they're going to play him at some point. I don't know if he's going to be the starter right off the bat against Clemson, but there's going to be more pressure, I think, on the quarterbacks to produce more running plays. John Franklin III, Jeremy Johnson, Sean White, whoever it is, they're going to have to make some more plays with their feet now, just because there's just not a whole lot of experience in the backfield at all.
All right, injuries always a concern on any football team, especially getting bit by that injury bug early. Gus Malzahn listed a few guys in his opening press conference. Who stood out to you most?
Well, there were 4 guys that we got injury updates on. 3 of them, I would say, are not. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. Tyler Queen is kind of the 4th string quarterback right now, and he's been dealing with some shoulder and some AC joint problems, and he's still kind of rehabbing that, but they're hoping to have him back by the time school starts. So that's not a huge deal just because he's not really in the quarterback race at this point. Jontavius Johnson, who is a big 317-pound defensive lineman, redshirted last year. Malzahn told us last night that he's going to have knee surgery later this week, and he's most likely going to be out for the year. So that's really a big blow for him. But the defensive line is pretty stacked. It's pretty deep this year. So the other 2 injuries are foot injuries, and they're both week to week. Prince Salmons, offensive lineman, who is pretty raw, and most people thought he was going to redshirt this year anyway. But I would say the biggest injury right now is to Kyle Davis, the former 5-star wide receiver. Auburn doesn't have a whole lot of experience at wide receivers after losing Melvin Ray and Ricardo Lewis and Duke Williams last year. And so they brought in a crop of really talented guys in this 2016 class. And Kyle Davis and Nate Greg Myers are the top 2 guys And so Kyle Davis enrolled early in January, but he was limited to non-contact drills this spring because he was recovering from a shoulder surgery that he had, and so he's already kind of missed the spring, and now he's week to week with his foot injury. And so I would say Kyle Davis's injury is the most impactful because they need him to make a quick impact right away, and missing spring practice and most likely the majority of fall camp, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the receivers, I would say.
Yeah, you got to love this time of year. So many moving parts. Thank you, Wes, so much. Our eyes and ears, Wes Sinor on the Plains for us. For more updates from Auburn fall camp, go to AL.com.